Understanding DevSuite Multi-site. This is the final webinar in our 3-webinar series to cover the release of DevSuite 9.0. I'm Jason Hammon, Director of Product Management at TechExcel. Today I'm joined by Yang Wang, our Senior Product Manager here, and today we'll be walking you through a little bit about how multi-site works, and we'll actually be providing a demo also. This webinar is going to be recorded and it will be available on our website next week. So our agenda today is really to talk about the concepts behind DevSuite Multi-site, and then we'll be seeing a demo from Yang. Next, we'll have a preview of MyDevSuite. We'll announce the winner of the iPad 3. We've been working on that promotion in relation to the launch of DevSuite 9.0, and then we'll have questions and answers. If you do have a question during the webinar, on the right-hand GoToWebinar panel, you'll see a section called Questions. Feel free to type in a question, and we will answer some of the questions at the end of the webinar. Before we start talking about multi-site, I want to talk a little bit about what was in 9.0. If you've attended the other webinars, you know that there is a lot of features in 9.0. In the event you didn't attend the other ones, I just want to mention that in addition to having multi-site support in 9.0, we also have a brand new MS Office or Word add-in that allows you to have a two-way Word integration for DevSpec. We also have a new thing called Development and Requirement Spaces, and there's much, much more. If you go to help.techexcel.com, click on the DevSuite tab, you can read a whole complete list of all the new features in 9.0. You can also, from our website, view the What's New in 9.0 webinar that Alex Perrick did, or you can also see the 9.0 launch webinar that Tieran Zoe did. So in terms of what's new in DevSuite as it relates to multi-site, there's two main components of multi-site that are included in the 9.0 build. The first is multi-site itself, which provides local performance speeds for globally distributed teams by allowing them to have replicated databases, web servers, and application servers. Though replication is probably not the best term to describe exactly how we manage that, but I will dig into the details of how it all works in just a second. It also features a disconnected mode so that if your local site ever loses connection with the system master site or your project master site, you can continue to work. And we also have a conflict merging functionality that allows you to, when you come back online, if there has been any conflicts that have occurred, you can also resolve them. The other big piece of multi-site is the combined DevSuite and DevTest admin and the staging admin, which we'll talk a little bit about too. So now with DevSuite 9.0, you can open up DevTest projects from a single admin client that you would have for DevSuite, and we also have the functionality to stage changes before they're rolled out to production. So why would you want DevSuite Multi-site? There's a lot of challenges to being a globally distributed team. Remote teams often have to work with limited internet bandwidth, which means that viewing, editing tasks can be slow. Accessing reports or downloading documents and attachments can be very slow depending on the size of them. So DevSuite really is going to save you time and money in terms of being more efficient and allowing your team to work faster. Shorter wait times are obviously going to lead to productivity gains and cost savings. And so what multi-site does is it allows you to set up for each of your sites a separate system. So in the diagram here you can see, and this is actually exactly how we have our company set up too, but we actually have another site too in North Carolina, but let's just pretend we only have 3 sites right now. So you can have a USA site, a UK site, and a China site. Each of them is going to have their own database server, application server, and web server, and individuals are going to be able to connect to their local system via the web client or the admin client. And also starting in June, they'll also be able to use the Windows client too for DevSuite. So all of those systems are going to sync data between them. And I'm going to explain kind of what each type of site, what functionality occurs there, and then also how the syncing works in the coming slides. A multi-site system is made up of 3 different types of sites. We have system master site, we have a system master site, I should say, we have project master sites, and we have regular work sites. A DevSuite system is only going to have one system master site. That system master site is going to authenticate any sites before they can join it. It's going to be a central manager for the system license. So if you are loading a license into DevSuite, you're going to do that only at the system master site, and the properties of that license are then going to be distributed out to your other sites. The system master site is also responsible for assigning the project IDs for new projects. I'm going to talk a little bit later about what happens if you want to have an existing project join too. But for any new projects, it is going to determine what that project ID is going to be. And also, whenever a new user is added, because it's going to utilize a central user manager, each new user's ID is also going to be generated from that system master site. We also have what are called project master sites. Now, project master site is for each DevSuite project, or DevTrack project, if you're more partial to think of it that way. If a project exists on more than one site, you're going to designate one of those sites, and it doesn't have to be the system master site, as that project master site. The project master site is going to be the central manager for that project. You're going to be able to distribute or undistribute that project from the project master. That project master is going to control the sequence number for that current project, like the task ID, event ID, and notes, and so forth. So that's where those items are going to be generated. File attachments for the current project are also going to be saved to the project master site, unless for some reason you have a regular site that's disconnected to it, which I'll also address later. Finally, the action log and the action SQL log for the current project is also going to be maintained at that project master site. The last type of site that's involved in a multi-site system is a regular site. And this is for your remote end users to perform their daily work. This can be any site that may exist remote from the main project site. It's going to receive the IDs from the project master. It's going to receive the admin settings for the project master, though you can still make admin changes from any remote site too. And it's going to generally be downloading attachments from the project master as needed. Though, of course, if I submit some new items, I'm going to be uploading my attachments back to that project master. And just to kind of see visually how that might look, so we have our New York site, our California site, UK. There's lots of different sites here. For each of them, we're going to have the master site that's going to control the system settings. But for each of them, a project is going to have a master. So project 1, for example, only exists on the New York site and the California site. The project master is in California. But you can see here that, for example, project 2, it might be the UK and Japan. So, what determines the project master is really going to be where are, the majority of your users present. Is there some particular reason why you want to have that master there? It can result in a certain performance benefits to being close to the project master, though multi-site itself is going to, make it a lot quicker for all those remote sites also. So why does multi-site make things quicker? Well, to really talk about that, we need to talk about how the syncing works, both for the task updates and admin changes, and next we'll talk about the documents and attachments. So for multi-site, if you're creating a new item, it's similar to how things work now. That new item is created in the local database, and then it's going to be synced to all of the other project regular sites, the project master site, and the regular sites. But if I'm updating a task, we're only syncing the delta. So the first thing it does is really cut down the amount of traffic going back and forth between the web server and such. When disconnected from the project master, you're going to work locally, and then those changes are then going to be synced when you gain connectivity again. If any conflicts occur, you would be able to resolve them via the UI, which I believe Yang will show in just a minute too, what that looks like. For documents and attachments, we do not utilize sync service for those. So the idea is that as you need an attachment, it's downloaded on demand from the project master. If you upload an attachment to your local knowledge base from your local server, it's then synced to the project master. When you're working with the project master online, you're always getting those on demand. So the first time you are going to download it from the project master, but after that, any user is going to be accessing a copy that's going to be local, which will greatly increase the speed at which you can access those documents. If for some reason you're disconnected from the project master site, it'll always grab a local copy if it is available, or if it is unavailable, then you would need to wait till you had connectivity again. Now the next piece of multi-site to talk about is the staged admin. What the staged admin allows us to do is a couple nice things. First off, something that customers have requested for a long time is it allows you to make a lot of changes to the admin and view them before rolling them out into production. And when you think about it, it's something that we would need to do for multi-site anyway, because you would not want to constantly have changes going back and forth to all the sites. So this allows you to take all your changes, roll them together, and then deploy them at once from one site to the rest of the sites also. Now you might be thinking, well, if I have, it's probably pretty clear what happens if I want to create a new project in a multi-site family, but I already have 2 or 3 servers. How do I connect my existing servers? How do I start a multi-site system with existing servers? So what we let you do is you first designate which server is going to be the system master site. Then we allow you to download system settings to the new site that you want to connect to it. The local users at the remote site will then be uploaded to the system master, and then after that happens, all of the users will be then downloaded back to all of the systems. So what happens is we create a common user manager for all of the users that may have been in all of the different servers that you had. By doing that, we will update the IDs of those users in case there was any users that had the same user ID based on the fact that they were on 3 different servers before. So all the users will then have a unique ID. The same thing is going to happen for projects. Any projects that are going to be distributed on the multiple sites, they may also have their project ID updated if there is any duplication in the project IDs. Projects can be further distributed to many sites once they're initially joined. Now, once you have a multi-site system set up, if you have an existing project that has never been distributed before, the process for that is actually you allow a subscriber site to connect, the project master site, and then the project master site can generate an activation file. And the reason we use the concept of the activation file is just in case it is a very large amount of data, you may not want to have to download all that data. So by providing an activation file, it's a easier, quicker way for you to transport all that data to the other site and then load it. Subscriber site then activates that activation file, and then once loaded successfully, the project will be ready. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Yang in a second, and he is going to actually show you how DevSuite Multi-site works. Yang, are you there?
Hello, yes, I'm here.
Hi, Yang.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to join our web seminar. And it's my honor to give you a demo of our multi-site environment. And here I will show my screen. Okay, Jason, can you see my screen now?
Yes, we can, Yang. Thanks.
Okay, cool. Okay, in order to make our demo to be more exciting, we wanted to using our TechExcel live system to do this demo. And for our TechExcel, we already have 3 sites for our daily working. We have the headquarters in the California, USA. And also we have a development team in China, Beijing. So we have a Beijing site. And also we have a QA team in China, Jiaxing. So we have another site in Jiaxing, China. So for our environment, we have 3 sites, 1 in USA, 2 in China. And first of all, I want to give you a show for admin. In USA site, here is our new admin, which can help user to manage all the projects within the multi-site environment. You can see in the multi-site setting page, we have 3 sites, USA site, China site, and Beijing site. And the USA site will be the system master site. Also, we have lots of the projects. One of the major projects we are working on is this DevSuite development project. And you can see this project has already been distributed to all these 3 sites, China sites, Beijing sites, and USA sites. And the USA sites will play as the project master role. Okay, in order to distribute a new project, we can just select, for example, select another one, click distribute, and check on this checkbox. We will be able to distribute this project to these sites. Okay, so we are using our live project, DevSuite development project, as a sample to show how our developer, our QA engineer, and our designer working within that multi-site environment. And this browser is connected to our USA site. It's our amteam.texel.com. You can see we have lots of the working development space here, such as DevSuite 9.0, DevSuite 9.01, DevSuite 9.1 here. And currently we are working on the DevSuite 9.01. We have 3 sprints, sprint 1, 2, 3, and now we are working on the sprint 3. We have all these subfolders here. So for the USA developer, we can see all this folder structure and all the tasks here. And here I removed to 2 servers. One is in our Beijing site. So our Beijing developer team can also access their Beijing site, beijing.devsuite.net.cn. And once they log in, they can see the same project, DevSuite development project, and the same folder structure, such as the DevSuite 9.0, DevSuite 9.01, and all this screen and the task. And also, for our QA engineer in China, Jiaxing, they will connect to the China, devsuite.net.cn. So once they log in, they will see the exactly same folder structure and the same task list as we see in USA and in Beijing. So in one scenario, for example, in USA, we wanted to find a problem, want to do an improvement, for example, for our portfolio project. And we wanted to create a new task here. And this task will be improvement for the portfolio project, something like that. And we can put some description here and select this product is our portfolio project. And okay, I think I have some typo here. And you can select the problem area. Is, for example, is an admin problem, and the priority will be an agent one. And the browser, this one related to the Firefox and Chrome, IE, everything. And the assign, we want to assign this item to myself. So I assign to Yunwang. And also we can, in the current status, we can set this so I have no related story. This is all our internal configuration. And it's now. Okay, once the user submits this one, you can submit these new tasks in the USA side. Once this task created is task 56303. Once this task is created from the USA side, for the Beijing developer, for example, in the Beijing site, they will check this folder. They will see this item 56303 immediately. And they will know, oh, there is an item, we need more development work on this one. And they can see the title, they can see all these field properties, and they can see the description. And once the developer working on this one, they finish the work, they want to say that this one will be fixed. So they click on test fixed. And they want to put some notes. This task is finished, and they save this one. Once the Beijing developer finished the development on this one, you can see the workflow status for this one will be in the testing status. Then our QA engineer in the Hammon China team, you can see this folder, this item, in the same folder again, and you will see improvement for this one. And they will say, oh, this one is already in the testing status. So QA engineer can work on the QA testing verification on this item. And once they do this, they say, oh no, this one is not fixed. It's not same as the design. They can say this one is test failed. And they wanted to put some notes here. We said test failed. And they save this one. So for this item, they will switch back to the in development status. So once this one is done, also in the USA side, our development manager will see this item. You can see, oh, this one is still in development, and the QA engineer have already working on this one, and the developer also have working on this one, and they have some different opinion. So the manager here can say, okay, I want to put a note to explain why this task is important, what's the correct behavior of this one is. So they want to put a note here. So this is sample note. And so here I want to demo the file attachment control. So in the USS side, they want to attach a file attachment for this item. And they want to open the local and select the file. For example, this is a small file, demo text file. They open this one, they click OK, and they submit. So the development manager in the USA side will put a note here and attach a document to explain what's the functionality of this task. Once all this done, for both in the Beijing developer team, they will refresh this one. They will see this note immediately, and also see this file attachment. And they can click on this one. They will see this document here, and they can open this document. They will say, oh, this is the original explanation for this is a demo text. So the developer in the Beijing team can know what should be implemented here. And also, this file attachment can also be viewed by the QA engineer in Jiaxin team. They will refresh this item, and they can see this notes again. And they can click on this one, and they can also view the content of this file. Yeah, this is the same file. Okay, since this is a small file, you can see all the users from all sites can view this document immediately, just like they check this document in their local site. And here I want to demo a big file. This big file will be 10 megabytes, and we will show for the developer and the QA in the China side how could they view this file in a high, very good performance. For example, I will do another note here. Node with a big file. Here we have a file. Here is a PDF file, and we want to attach this file and submit. Once the developer manager submitted this file in the USA side, this file will be uploaded to the document server on our USA server. And all the meta info such as the notes description, all this information will be synced to all our sites, such as the Beijing site and Jiaxin sites, with our sync service immediately. So once this one is done in the USA, for the developer in Beijing site, this file, this notes immediately, but this document is still hosted in the USA side. So for the first time, the Beijing developer wanted to check this file. For example, click on this one. They wanted to open this file. For the first time, we need to get this file downloaded from the USA side document server to the Beijing side document server. So this time, we will transfer this file from USA to Beijing. So you will see the bandwidth from Beijing to USA is kind of slow. So this time, you can see the transfer rate is only around 20 to 30 K per second. And this will take the developer for 3 to 5 minutes to see this document. But once with the multi-site help, once the first time the user downloaded this file, the first user will use this file from Beijing side. Then all other developers in the Beijing side can open this file from their local document server, and the performance will be much improved. So here we will need to take a while for this one. And by the way, we can go to the sync side. But we will see, once I refresh it, we can see this nodes, those new nodes with a big file is already displayed in the Jiaxing side, and the Jiaxing QA engineer can also see this document. To switch back to Beijing side, they are around 50% down. So you can see now the China team is in China at night, and the bandwidth is much better than the working time. So if in the working time, this transfer rate will be much slower. So that's the major improvement for our multi-site feature. And now we got a 65 K per second.
Hey, Jan, do you have can you show maybe an example of what the conflict resolution looks like really quick?
Oh yeah. For the conflict resolution, just as just mentioned, for example, here we have some conflict, and for the China QA side, in the testing view, we are doing some sample in the testing template project, and the user wanted to modify some items in the offline mode, and this modification is conflict with the modification on the project master side. And once this site go back to online mode, all the conflict will be saved in their local site. So you can see we have an icon here to indicate we already have some conflict for this project. And also in the search bar, we can select to show all lost change on the local site. So once the user click on this one, we will see for the template item 1, template item 2, and the template 21, we have some conflict. Once the user click on this one, we have a tab called lost change. In the lost change tab, you will see, oh, this is the information on the date, May 9, and changed by Y.E. Shen. She modified something, but this change has been lost on the local. Once we expand this one, we will see the detailed lost information. For example, the title, you wanted to change it to this information, but this lost value is not being submitted to the project master side. Also the field owner and the field status. Also we have the item 2, you can see we have lots of the changes have been lost on the local side. For example, the owner, the test procedure, even the in-text field, the memo fields can be listed here to show the lost value, and also this one. So for all this, also for the item 21, and here. And for all this lost value, user have 2 options to work on it. The first option is to clear all. They said they already checked the new content and think this lost change is not useful. They want to just clear. So they click this button, all this lost change will be cleared. And another one is the recover. And if user think, for example, for item 1, they think the title owner status, this modification is still useful. You can check on this checkbox and click on recover. And all this value will be saved in the local database and also uploaded to the project master. So it will be very quick to recover all this lost change. So this is one of the major functions for the conflict resolution and the lost change recovery. Let's switch back to our staging side. Okay, you can see this file is already being opened here. This is a big PDF file. So this is the performance without multi-site. And once this file have already been opened, and next time for other users from the Beijing side, if, for example, here, they wanted to view this file, they click on it, and they said they wanted to open it, and I want to get the document again. You can see this time we'll get the document from the document server at the Beijing site. So it will be very fast. You can see only about 2 seconds file will be opened. So this one will help the users in Beijing and China to open big file attachment from our US central site. Okay, Justin, I think this is all the demo.
Okay, thank you so much, Yang.
No problem.
All right, so I just have a few more items to take care of. Oops, don't want to show that quite yet. Okay. Thank you, Yang, for the demo Multisite.
You're welcome.
Multisite is actually available now, and it is an add-on module, so there is a per license cost in addition to per server cost. And you can talk to your sales rep about that if you'd like. Until the end of June, you can also save 50% off on the cost of Multisite. So I should have showed my screen there. Couple more things to cover before we end the webinar today. Well, first off, if you do have any questions about Multisite, please continue to use the question interface, and we'd be happy to answer them at the end. But I did want to preview what is going to be coming up in the next version. So MyDevSuite is a brand new add-on module for DevSuite that allows you to view DevSuite data on your iPad or Android tablet. It is currently available via Google Play. You can download it now and try it. It should be available from the Apple App Store in the next few days also. You can currently download it and evaluate it using our sample project. And then in June, once it is available for production use, you'll be able to have an installation of the MyDevSuite server, or you can utilize one of our hosted servers for production deployment. We'll have a webinar in June that'll include another iPad giveaway to cover all of the functionality of MyDevSuite, but I am able to show you briefly a little bit of MyDevSuite now. So I'm currently using an emulator that allows me to see the same content you would see on your tablet. And what you can see here is that I can look at all of my projects, and within my, for example, DevTrack sample project, I can see a list of all of my sub-projects. I can click on a specific sub-project, see my task list, view tasks, including attachments. And if I view a particular task, I can click Edit, and then I can even edit those tasks from my iPad or Google tablet. You can also view, in addition to viewing your own items, you can also sort by team member too, so you can see other people's items too. There's also some other functionality built into MyDevSuite, including the ability to have meetings with other colleagues that you might have, where you can view each other's data here, and you're also able to record information too. So any document you can actually record audio to and share that with other individuals also. So there's a lot of exciting, fun things in MyDevSuite, and like I said, you can start evaluating it now, and then there'll be a production version available in June. So let's go back to the PowerPoint. Oops. So we do have one more thing to cover before we get to the questions and answers. So as part of the DevSuite 9.0 launch, we had a contest where a random winner was generated from webinar registrations, including this webinar, trade show attendees, and DevSuite evaluations, and then anyone who retweeted the launch information. And based on all of those, we had hundreds of entries, and based on those, the winner is Jeff Stelzner. So Jeff Stelzner, we will be contacting you and getting your shipping information, and you will be getting a new iPad 3. So thanks to everybody who participated in that contest. And now with that, let's see. I know that we had a couple questions. So, and then Yang, I hope you're still on the line to help me answer them. But one of the questions that we had was about Link Plus. How does Link Plus work in a multi-site environment? Can you use Link Plus?
Hi, Jason.
Yes.
I saw these 3 questions. They are nice questions, and the 2 questions are related to the multi-site. The first question is about the Link Plus, and the Link Plus is fully supported in our multi-site environment. For the Link Plus user, if they update the task info in DevTrack database, all this updated information will be also synced to other sites. So each site can run their own Link Plus, update the info to the same project, and this info will be synced to all other distributed sites. So for the end user, they will see the same content from different sites. So the second question is about the user. And even we have a system master, project master, this concept in multi-site, but for new user, modify user information, all these operations can be performed on all sites. Any administrator in any site can create a new user, assign license, or modify any information about this user. All this modification will be synced to other sites immediately. So
okay. Now, just to clarify that point further, once you add that user from one remote site, it's available to all the sites. Everybody uses that same central user manager, correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let's see, there was a couple other questions. One was about the Windows client, and I did mention that it's going to be available in June for use in multi-site. It was my understanding that it was being phased out. Can you clarify? Yes. So, eventually we would like to phase out the Windows client. We're not phasing it out this year, and it will be available multi-site, because one nice thing about multi-site is that if you do have users that want to use the Windows client and you do have a multi-site environment, they could use the Windows client even in their remote locations, which is currently not supported. So right now, if I am using a central server in the US and I have users in Europe, they can only use the web client. They have no option to use the Windows client. So one nice advantage to using multi-site is the ability to connect that Windows client to your local server. We will eventually probably phase out the Windows client, but we will give you plenty of notice this time on it as it relates to DevSuite. One more question for you, Yang. Does the conflict resolution functionality that was demonstrated in DevTest work the same way in DevTrack?
Yes, it's working exactly the same in the DevTrack. Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, well, that's all the time we have today. If you have any additional questions about multi-site, feel free to contact your account manager. If you're an existing customer, if you are a new prospect, whoever you are working with on your evaluation can also answer any questions you may have also. And hopefully you'll join us next month